As an instructor, I like to focus on three important fundamentals: grip, sights, and trigger. It doesn't mean in that order. And trigger is probably the most important. I've got Kimber's new K6S DASA. It stands for double action, single action. Anytime a gun has two trigger presses, like a double action and a single action, we've got to learn them both. And this is what I would do with a new shooter to teach it. Starting with the gun empty, I'd just get them used to finding where they would want their trigger finger on this gun in order to press the trigger continually until the hammer falls. Now, in double action, you can see that I get really deep into that trigger. I get very deep. I have great control. The other trigger we have to get used to is the single action. When I cock that hammer and I go into single action, there's actually quite a bit of pressure before that hammer falls. Most people think as soon as they cock that hammer, it turns it into a sniper rifle. Well, that's not necessarily the case. This still has a really great single action trigger. Look at the pressure I can put on the pad of my finger without pressing it. So once I can get them used to that, then I'll have them loaded up, and we're gonna do it exactly the same way. Now, I don't always use a target in front of me, but the target will depict just exactly how a gun rises and falls when we press the trigger correctly. So I'll put some rounds in this pistol, and I would start off with the single action, because as soon as you put live rounds in the gun, most people get really tentative about touching the trigger. So I'm just gonna fire one. Good shot. Get used to touching that trigger. Fire two. After I do that several times, I'd like to get them used to that double action press. So I'll hold the gun the same way, and I'm gonna work through that double action. Rolling, gun goes off, rolling, gun goes off. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Those two shots in double action went right through the same hole. The gun rises and falls. The reason people miss is because they don't know how to run the trigger. Let me load this up and I'll show you how it works in rapid fire. The hammer's going to be constantly moving. The gun rises and falls, and I'm working the trigger in time with its rise and fall. So I've got 6 rounds in here. I'm going to change my position on the target, and I'm just going to roll that hammer. You can watch that hammer. That's pretty good shooting. It just depicts exactly how that gun rises and falls. And if we work the trigger correctly, we can learn it better. Now, this is a drill I call sideways gun. I run it in all my classes. You might want to try it out.